It's been, you know what, it's just been so hectic, so busy. Like getting everything together for this, just getting this launched, just everything. It's just been a hectic, well, as ever, a hectic couple of weeks. It never really, well, in many ways, it's a good thing. It never really stops.
You're listening to the British Baseball Podcast.
Busy, really, really busy, really hectic. I've spent about the last, 6 weeks, 2 months working on this piece, the Josh Gibson MVP baseball card for the baseball card tournament. So this week's been hectic, getting it all put together, getting the final touches on. There's a lot of research, designing, developing the idea. So to get to the stage where it's actually finished, the card drop was yesterday, so it's out there, people seeing it. It's kind of a relief because it's been a lot of work. So I'm glad to get to this point where it's just done,
Yeah, I had some really good feedback from it as well. So Heavy J had.
Yeah, really nice. Like Heavy J, all sorts. Like Sean Gibson, it's been well received. But I think that's the nature of the whole tournament, the artists that are producing and what they're producing. I think everyone can see the standard's been really, really good. The quality is superb, and everyone's doing it for a joint purpose, for a joint cause, which I think is really, really cool and has a lot of strength to it.
And for those that don't know about the cause, what is it?
So the MVP, the AL and the NL MVP trophy is going to be renamed this year. And beforehand, it had a Judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis or Commissioner Kennesaw Mountain Landis' name on it. And his name was removed last year because he was the commissioner during the time where the colour line was maintained in professional baseball. So his name has been taken off, and they're looking to rename it. And Josh Gibson was one of the names that got put into the hat to possibly appear on the MVP trophy. So Sean Gibson and Tad Richardson at the NLBM Arts website, they started this drive with Heavy J Studios and Mr. Shake to create a kind of a card art tournament with card artists all around the world, making baseball cards to promote Josh Gibson and spread his message, spread his abilities, and hopefully have the trophy renamed in Josh's honour. I think it's to remind everyone of the legacy of the Negro Leagues, of Josh Gibson, but also all the players of the Negro Leagues. And I think that's kind of where the power is, or why it's so important, because this part of history and baseball history needs to be remembered and never forgotten. And I think for an MVP, there's nothing more inspirational than the stories of the great players of the Negro Leagues.
Yeah. So why is Josh Gibson so important, and why was he picked above other people?
I think, because I think he was one of the best. I mean, I think it's that simple. If you look at his statistics through the years, he played for 17 seasons for the Pittsburgh Crawfords and the Homestead Greys. He died very early, very young, in 1947. And his statistics are unbelievable, his career statistics. I'm just going to look at my notes here because I can't remember off by heart. But in 1943, for example, he's the all-time... He's the best single season batting average of 441 in 1943. And that will be, those statistics have obviously been incorporated into the MLB statistics now. And that is the best single season history record ever for the batting average. His overall batting average, he's second, just behind Ty Cobb. His on-base percentage, he's fifth. His slugging percentage is in the top 5 as well. So if you look at those, that's 5 huge statistics. And in all of baseball history, he's in the top 5. So there you have one hell of a player, one great player. If you look at ex-Major League Baseball players, Babe Ruth, Walter Johnson, Lou Gehrig, all of the great players, when they talked about Josh Gibson, they would say what a talent he was, what an absolute asset to any team he was. Walter Johnson said that he was worth, any Major League Baseball team would pay $200,000 for him, and this is way, way, way back. And, he was held in the highest regard by his peers, but unfortunately it was his peers in the major leagues, which he couldn't join because of the colour of his skin. So I think there's the thing where you think, well, this is a guy who's excelled in the sport. I think he's recognised without a doubt, but I don't think he's recognised to the same level that your Babe Ruths, your Lou Gehrig's, your Walter Johnson, your Joe DiMaggio's are. And I think that's kind of the importance here is bringing awareness to Josh Gibson and the Negro Leagues as a whole. So I think that's, he was also exceptional in other countries as well. He's in the Mexican Hall of Fame. I was in Monterrey in 2019. Yeah, 2019, I was in Monterrey at the Hall of Fame there. He's enshrined there. He played in Venezuela, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. In 1942 or 1941, 1942, he was the MVP in Puerto Rico. So he was just a superstar player. But because of the colour line and because of the history, he probably hasn't had the full recognition, I'd say, that he's really is due. So I think that's why it's important that his name gets onto that trophy now.
Yeah. Who's you up against?
I don't know exactly, to be honest with you. It's not like there's actual people that there's no set right. It's these five. I think it's just the Baseball Writers Association. It's down to them to decide who goes on it, or whether they have one on the AL and one on the NL. The Josh Gibson Foundation are apparently Josh's name was mentioned to be part of this, and Sean Gibson saw it in a newspaper article and decided, okay, let's run with that. Let's make this happen. So him and his team in Pittsburgh have taken that on to promote Josh to hopefully have his name on the trophy. So I'm not sure exactly who he's up against. I think it's going to come to me later. One of them just popped into my head, but I can't think. I think Branch Rickey might be possibly going forward for it. But there's no set. It's not like that there's 10 names in the running. It can be anybody. But I think there's some big ones like Josh who I think have got a good chance, hopefully. Yeah.
So how did you get involved in this card making project?
It's through the NLB Marts course, like the Tad Richardson. If you look them up on Twitter at NLBM Arts. So I've been working with them since last year. Group of artists all around the world and crafts makers. It was for the Negro League's 100th year anniversary. Yeah. And that was where I made my Negro League Dream Team canvas. I've got a little postcard of it here, which you might be able to see. So that was the piece I made back for the celebration of the 100 years of the Negro Leagues. And the original was obviously much bigger than this. But that was for celebrating the 100th year of the Negro League celebration last year. So that was where it started, joined with that group, and kind of it's been going on now for, well, just under a year now, that group's been formed. And this was like the latest part, which Heavy J, Mr. Shake, Tad, Sean decided, okay, let's get lots of card artists together and we'll have this tournament where we'll kind of battle out each week and then each card will go into the next round. As you said, I think I've told you before, I'm not really comfortable, I think would be words that I'd use for like kind of battling with art. To me, it seems like it doesn't seem, I think it's very hard as an artist anyway to judge yourself. But when you start getting into these sorts of territories, then I think that can be problematic. But again, I think the spirit of it and the nature of it with all the artists that are in it, it's very light-hearted and it's just fun. It's really nice to collaborate and see other people's work and to get respect for each other and just see what everybody else is producing along the same kind of lines. We're all doing something to do with Josh Gibson, but if you look at the outcomes that everyone's doing, it's so varied. It's superb. So I've really, really enjoyed it. It's been a great experience, really.
Cool. Which other artists' work have you seen that you really like with this project?
Well, there's Todd Radom, of course. He released one this week. It's a beautiful little card. I'm trying to think. Is it Mr. Dink? I'm going to look at his. Hang on, let me give you the Instagram. Oh, the handle here.
Let's have a look.
Is it Mr. Dink? Dink Art 1968. His one is one that was released with mine yesterday. Really, really cool. I don't think it's a screen print, but it's got that kind of poster kind of feel to it of Josh. And it's nice. It's got bright red. The colour choice are fantastic. It's got the complementary colours, green and red down the sides, which really kind of set it off and set off this black and white image of Josh in the foreground. So you can see that. That's Dink Art. So that's at Dom Says Figure. So if you do Dink Arts 1968, that'd be the easiest way to see that one. But here's one.
Yeah.
Here's one came out with mine yesterday. Really, really, really cool. But the variation's been superb. When you look at the variation, there was, I can't think what the guy's called now, but the guy who does things into leather, like punching into leather, kind of embossing it, and he's done one, and it's superb. Like, I love his work, like what he's doing there. So there's a lot of really cool pieces. But if you just Google it or search the hashtag JG20MVP, you'll see all the different outcomes.
That's one. So you've been documenting this journey for a while on YouTube in really short, like bite-sized videos, which have been fantastic to watch and follow. There's the Angels in UK and Jason from Dugout Classics did a baseball card art competition not too long ago for like kids to join in and adults to just make their own baseball cards. And I found it quite therapeutic and really enjoy doing it, just like cutting up all baseball cards and mashing them together. And I had my own like thoughts and theories as to why I was doing what I was doing in each card. Like I would only use one font from each card that I was cutting up to make it completely unique. And I did for all the different British baseball podcasts and did one for you and stuff. And it was just a good, nice bit of fun. So knowing how I was thinking about making my own cards, to see you documenting yours and explaining behind your thinking and logic into what's now this beautiful finished product was just a fascinating journey to follow you on. Without giving too much away, so people can check it out on your YouTube channel, which we'll have links for in the show notes. Do you want to tell us a bit about the process of the whole design and the outcome and the thinkings behind it all?
Yeah, sure. Well, it was a long process, and I wanted it to be a long process because I wanted it to be done well. I wanted it to be done properly. I didn't want to throw something together. I think that's always the danger. And I mean, I think you know me and my work enough that I take it pretty seriously. And, I give it 110%, everything that I'm going to do. So I wanted to really, really, look at Josh, understand Josh, look at all the stories about Josh, all the backgrounds, and get that all together. Again, this is kind of my teaching background. I taught for 15 years. I was teaching art for about 15 years in the UK for 5, and then overseas in Korea for 10. And again, the research behind a card or a piece of artwork is always like probably the most important piece, because that builds it all together and makes the final piece hopefully a success. So I wanted to show people. I thought, well, lots of people see the final piece and they you can see this, but I don't think people understand how much thought and time goes into this. So, I was looking at baseball cards from different countries, from Japan, from America, from Korea, ones I've collected in my travels. By baseball iconography, what crops up a lot on baseball cards, in baseball stories, in baseball books, what shapes come up, what colors come up, all this sort of thing. So you got to do your research to find out, okay, what things could I use and how have other people used them? It's always important to look at other artwork. That's why it's so important to look at the other card artists and see, right, how are they doing something similar and how can you put your own take on that? So I was looking at a lot of different things there to begin with, and then it's all about the drawing and the designing, putting those things together and working through it. I think I explained in one of my videos, I used to tell my kids when I was teaching that, it's kind of like you have a funnel. You put all these ideas into a funnel and you're trying to distill like the best bits out of it. You're trying to squeeze the best bits out of that, that art juice or whatever you might want to call it. Yeah. So and then it was onto Photoshop, playing around with the different images. On Photoshop you can quickly move things around, change colors, and then it was getting to the actual work itself. Now in the work, there's kind of meaning behind almost every part of it. Nothing here is done on it by accident or just for an effect. It's done because it's important. So, I mean, of course you've got Josh. Now I've got Josh, and I wanted him to be. I tried different pictures of him, but this one for me worked the best because I like the fact that we're engaging with him. We're looking at him, the MVP, and we're looking kind of almost up to him. And it's this picture of him as a young man in his catcher's gear. And I think it's, it's a real kind of stoic image of him, looking off into the future, looking off into those memories almost. You've got the diamond. Now, of course, a diamond is, we play on a baseball diamond. A diamond is a very precious jewel, precious gift, a precious thing. And again, that's where we've got Josh here. You've got the red, blue and white, all colours that are in the Pittsburgh Crawfors uniform and the Homestead Greys uniform. You've got the ball, of course, baseball. But on the ball, we've got the MVP. We've got it in gold. We've also got 4 pennants there. Josh won 4 pennants. So I've got those in gold, again, gold, precious metal, precious material, precious stories. We've got stars, 12 stars down the sides of each side there, 12 times all-star. We've got a bat. He was known for his batting power, over 800 home runs, the high batting averages, of course. We've got his name in gold. Again, if I kind of move it a little bit, you might be able to see how it reflects, but it's kind of shiny spray paint. Yeah. And then we've also got, you won't be able to see it on this, I'm sure, but you can see it at night. And you can see it in person when you can see it up very close. In the background here, I've got dynamite sticks and lightning bolts. Josh and Buck Leonard played at the Homestead, is it Homestead Greys or Pittsburgh Crawfords? They played together anyway. And I can't think which team it was now. It's lost in my mind. Either way, they were known as the Dynamite Twins or the Thunder Twins. So again, I've got these lightning strikes and these thunderbolts in the back. Buck O'Neill also said about Josh how the crack off the bat when Josh hit it was like a stick of dynamite going off. So I wanted to include those little quotes and those little stories that I'd found into here somewhere. But when you're including so many things, it's hard to, you can almost overdo it. But I wanted to keep the focus on Josh and just the main man himself. But the stories are also hidden within it as well. So you've got that in glow in the dark paint. So I like this idea that, in the daytime, you can see the image as it is. You switch off the lights at night and then these things just glow a little bit. And I love that idea. And I think especially, it relates to the time that Josh was playing in, but it relates also to today that, even in the dark times, if you think about 2020 and the civil unrest and the merger of George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movement and all these sorts of political things that are very current at the moment, it's been quite dark at times, but I feel like, these things here where they glow, they still glow on when it's dark. I think that's very important. Again, part of Josh's story. And I think that's kind of, again, why it's so important to me and what I think needs to be remembered.
Fantastic. That's brilliant. So what advice then have you got for any budding card artist, like, say, for example, my now 4-year-old who enjoys taking a pair of scissors to do some cards, and maybe his dad who are looking to have a bit more fun with it? Is anything you can suggest? Is it less is more?
No, not necessarily. I think number one's the research. It's always the research. You've got to do your research. You've got to look at other artists. Again, you would have seen in my videos, I was looking at cards. I was looking at card artists. I was looking at cards from Japan, from the States, from, modern times to the very, very early series of baseball cards. But number one is the research. You need to look at that, and then you need to gather ideas, see how other people have done it. You also need to look at artists. I was looking at Cézanne, Picasso, Matisse, my favorite artists. I was looking at those guys because it's not, this is a piece of card art or this is a baseball card, but it wouldn't matter if it was a baseball card or more of just a portrait or a team painting or whatever you're doing. You need to have your research done. So I think that's, to me, that's always the number one. That's where it starts. If you have your knowledge right, then you'll get the depth that produces something that really holds up.
Cool. So it's been a bit of time since we spoke on the podcast. Like we mentioned before, the Negro League bits and pieces that you were doing. What's changed for you then, on and off the canvas, I suppose, since we last spoke?
Oh dear, yeah, quite a lot. When would have been? Was October, November time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, a lot. I mean, we've been through all the lockdowns. And yeah, I've not been out painting baseball as I would have liked to have been, or that I would have planned to have been, of course, because of the pandemic. But it's kind of all starting again, which is cool. 2 weekends ago, I was down at the Battle for Britain at Farnham Park, painting the ballpark there and painting the games, painting the tournament. So that's been really cool. It's kind of like, I feel like we're coming out of that, the COVID pandemic, hopefully things are getting better. So I was down there. painting live baseball for the first time since we met at the Battle for Britain last year.
Yeah.
But really, it was the first time where it really felt like baseball since I was in Mexico and Cuba in the early part of 2020. So it was great to be back out in the sun, hot weather, painting baseball. I've got the painting here. In fact, let me bring it, show it up. So that was the canvas from Farnham.
Amazing.
So it was just fantastic. And also,
That's so good.
Thank you very much. But I think you've been to Farnham, and just the facility there is just superb. It's so nice. It's such a beautiful, just such a beautiful spot. And as ever, you know, I've not painted. You know, I've painted baseball around the world, but I've actually painted very little baseball in the UK. So while I'm here, I'm hoping to paint more and more and more of this. The UK baseball culture. So, and I like how you get all these things that tell you in the UK. You know, at the background there, we've got a set of goalposts. We've also got a plane coming into land at Heathrow nearby. I think that's over on this side. You've got these little kind of quaint rooftops poking through the trees over here. So we've got all these little parts that tell you kind of where we are, the location and the culture of the country that we're in. So I've done that. I was at the Metalheads, the Birmingham Metalheads. In fact, that was 2 weekends ago. Farnham was the one before. That one, again, that was fantastic. That was, again, here's the canvas there. And again, it was just a great day at Marston Green, meeting, you know, I guess they're my local team. But meeting them and just seeing baseball and how it's played in this country. It was very typical kind of English British weather there was a massive downpour for about half an hour that ended up stopping the game, and then it turned into absolutely gorgeous sunshine, and it was just superb. So I've been out and about doing that. You can see more of that on my YouTube channel. I'm also, so now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to link up with different teams, more teams around the UK. So I've got a date booked to go to Aberdeen. I'm going to be in Aberdeen on the 4th of July, painting up there. The Worcester Sorcerers, I'm going to see them on July the 18th. So I'm looking for teams to kind of work with, and I'm hoping they'll have me along to paint their ballpark and paint them in action. So, of course, if anybody is with a team or would like me to come along or thinks the team might be interested, then please drop me a line and we'll get that sorted out. So I'm trying to build up my portfolio of work in this country and the baseball culture, and I think it's just, you know, it's just adding to my body of work.
That's good. So what do you need then from the clubs or the players as a commitment from you to pop down there? Are you just going to go down there and paint freely, or you have to?
No, first of all, what I'm asking is, I'm not asking teams to pay me. I'm not charging as such, but because of, like, you know, to go to Aberdeen from here is a good 8-hour drive possibly. So what I'm asking is teams to pre-purchase some prints. So of course they know I'm going to go and paint a painting of their ballpark of them playing. So what I'm asking is for teams to pre-purchase a set number of prints, so that, well, they get something. Everybody who plays that game will get a print of painting that they're in. The team will get prints that they can put in their clubhouse or put in their offices or whatever. And also I guarantee just a little bit of money so it can keep me going, so I can survive doing this work. And I'm asking for a little bit for the travel costs as well. But I think it's pretty fair, because it's a way in which everybody hopefully gets something, because, like I say, it's a lot of driving, a lot of travel. So I'm hoping that teams will see the value in what I'm doing there, but also the value that they can help me also. We can work nicely together so that everybody's getting something, which helps us all carrying on with our what we're doing, you know.
Yeah. Why do you think it's important to document a lot of the British teams? I know we've spoke about this sort of thing on the phone sort of like we've kept in touch over the days and the weeks and the months since you first came on as a guest. So why is it important to you to have this as part of your body of work?
Well, there's a few reasons. I guess it's important for me because this is where I'm from, but I haven't lived here for, well, I left the UK in 2009, so I haven't lived in the UK for many, many years. And when I left and when I was, you know, living in the UK, I wasn't really familiar with baseball. So, you know, since 2009, I've painted baseball in Korea, Japan, China, Taiwan, the US, of course, Cuba, Mexico, Canada, and here for MLB London and these few here. but you know, the UK and British baseball's the thing that you know I haven't done really, and that's the thing where it's like, well, I've painted all these, you know, Asian countries and their culture, and now they play baseball, now they see baseball, Latin American, and so on. Now I want to do it here. I want to find out, you know, what does it mean to this country, and how is it played in this country, and I want to pick out those, and I want to pick out those unique things that say, you know, this is where we are, and the different areas of the UK. You know, I'd really like to get up to where you play and to Liverpool and places like that, because I know, again, the backgrounds. It's always the, you know, the environment. I want to catch the environment. It's like that one of Busan that's behind you of mine.
Yeah.
I want to catch that environment. The you know, it might be the tree line, or it might be a church in the distance. It might be you know, Waltham Abbey's got the Waltham Abbey Church in the background where Harold Goodwinson was supposed to be buried. You know, so it's capturing the English history, it's capturing the British history, and also the baseball and all the things on it. So I think it's really important to, for me, to do it here, because that's you know, it's where I'm from. It's where it's my country, or it's my country of birth.
I reckon. That sort of brings me to the close of my questions. Andy, as you know, the last word goes to the guest. Anything you want to say before we part ways?
No, I don't think so. Thanks very much for having me on as ever. I'm trying to think. I thought there was one more thing we were going to talk about, but I can't think what it was now. But that might be it. Who knows? But either way, it's a pleasure to be here, Matt. So thanks for having me on.
And where can we find your YouTube channel, all your bodies of work, and you on social medias?
Well, if you go to YouTube and just Google my name, Andy Brown, baseball artist, or Andy Brown artist, then I'll pop up on there. There are going to be probably a limited number of prints of this that are going to be available in the coming weeks. So yeah, look out for those. They'll be on my website, andybrownstadiums.com. You can find me on Twitter at Andy B as an artist, and on Facebook and Instagram at Andy Brown as an artist. And also, I forgot to say, well, hopefully, you know, one more thing that I can tell you about is that in the future, I'm hoping this winter I'll get back to Mexico and maybe Dominican. I've got 2 projects over there that were supposed to happen last winter because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
The Winter League in Mexico was very much reduced, and the Dominican was same. There was no crowd. So the 2 projects that were going to be happening over there didn't materialize. But I'm hoping that maybe September, October time, I'll be back over that part of the world, doing ballparks and painting the players and documenting the baseball culture in that part of the world.
Awesome. Well, if you do go, I'm having first dibs on your camper van.
All right. Yeah, I'll be getting around in that a little bit more. That's the future too.
Yeah, but we need to see it all. I need to see a video of it.
You'll
got to show us that van, because every time I see one of your videos and I see a bit more of it, I'm just like, when you told me what the van was to start with, I looked it up online. I was just like, what on earth is that? But then there's like 20 odd different versions. Like, do you want to tell people what you've got?
Well, I got myself it's a Citroen Roma Home. It's a Citroen C15D. It looks like something that Robocop would go on holiday in. It's shaped like a brick. It's 20 years old. It's a real head turner. When you drive down the motorway, you get a lot of funny looks, and when you park up anywhere, people's like jaws drop a bit, because it's like something you've never seen before. But it's fantastic. It sleeps 2 comfortably, 1 very comfortably, and you know, I thought about getting it last year, but didn't get round to it, or getting something similar. And then I've got myself this one. So again, it will help me get out and about. It means that I can keep my costs lower, because I can camp in the van while I'm visiting teams, doing my painting and all the rest of it. So yeah, it's been fun so far. I'm hoping to get away in again very, very soon.
You should paint it. I don't mean like on canvas. I mean, you should paint the outside of it, like do some work on it.
Oh, well, you know, I'm gonna do a painting of it for sure. And people have said that to me, you know, something on the outside. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. But
like the world's biggest business card.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let me call it. All right, mate. Well, it's been cracking to talk to you as always, and I'll speak to you soon.
Take it easy. Take care. Thanks for watching.
Sarah.